Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm just checking something. Bear me 1 second. I'm just editing in this strategy. Okay, so I put in for a few payments, so I'm just waiting. I'm only trading 2 accounts today. I've got 6 payments or 5 payments waiting. Or yeah, bear me just a second. So new setup. And it's 34, I think. Yeah, bear me just 1 second. Okay, this should work. Boom. Okay, so I know what it is. Just bear me 1 second. So ES, I know. That should work. There we go. So, why is that not opening? What am I missing? Bear with me just a second. Sorry, guys. Disconnect and reconnect. So we got 2 legs up and this is a push down. So if we can get a drop below there. Why is that not working? Okay, let's leave that for now. Let me just check.
Order submitted.
Okay, that's working. So
order
sure
cancelled.
That isn't working. So Karina, how you doing, my friend? Jan, how you doing, buddy? Ionis Exponential Daryl. Okay, so I've put in for 6 payments. And I'm only trading 2 accounts at the moment. Well, yeah. So let's see how those payments get on. Hopefully they're quick. So channel with a break and a new high. Let's see what happens here. So it's hard to say here. So really, we've had quite low volume overnight. So we've had a little bit of sideways and we've had this move down. And we had kind of we had a move up and 2 attempts to push higher. So that made me think this is actually going to push above this. So when we had this thing, I wasn't thinking about triple test. Didn't trigger anyway. But this looks like it's trying to push up. So, you know, is this going to be the lows of the day? It's hard to say, really. So, but we have had a move down, 2 attempts to push higher. But if that was going to continue down, I wouldn't have expected this move up. So I've got that on account number 33. We're going to get a higher low here. We have, but it's just not quite close enough to that EMA. So Friday, another week. It's been a really tough month for me this month, I've got to say. I think I've put out about $3,500 review, which more, in honesty, I've had a really bad month. I bet I've paid at least $1,500 in 5, maybe not that much. I'd say up to $1,500 in evaluations and what's it. There is a higher low there, but that's too far from the EMA. But leg and a leg, I'm guessing we're probably going to break this. It's 24 ticks that. It's just too much risk, I think. It's not far from that EMA. I mean, it did work, but there you go. It's just too far from that EMA. So I'm just wondering why this orders isn't working. So edit strategy. So I've got it at PA34, which is the one. PA34, new strategy. PA34, new strategy. Not sure why this isn't opening an order. Any idea, Jan? I've got this open, but it's not opening an order for some reason. It's putting them in the, saying their order, but it's not opening. Let me just disconnect and reconnect. Not sure why that's not working. It's the account ATM. It is. I've got new setup. I'll just check it again in a minute. I'll drag it into the screen actually so you can see. So that did work, but it's, to be honest with you, it's too far from the EMA. What I do like about it is we have that little bearish bar, and that often makes a difference. So, edit strategy. So I've got new setup there, which is new setup there. Set to ES 2000 tick chart, account number 34, which is that one there. Any thoughts, bud? It is. I've got it to the ATM strategy is new setup, which I've got there. Unless I've changed it. No, it shouldn't make a difference, should it? Log Ninja Trader window. Let's have a look. What's the day? 25th. What do you think? It's not a major issue. I can, I can get by without it, right? Yeah, it's that one, using HDS. I'm not sure what that is. You're the programming guy. It won't place an order for the ATM is not correct. No, I'm not sure. I'll have a look later. Sometimes you're missing something, aren't you? Oh, what am I doing? Oh, you let's get a grip of your life. Come on. Just shut the damn thing down. Sorry about that. Having a good start to the day. Bear with me a second. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 8 accounts. 6 are put in for payment. I've had a really tough month emotionally as well. I've found it just tough. I just seem to have just lost loads of trades. I haven't sort of gone mad on tilt. I've got to say, I just wonder, when I was going down to micros, I was looking at and listening to myself. I had this kind of dilemma. When I came down from 2 contracts to 1 contract, I felt like I was taking riskier trades. And then that seemed to, I don't know, but when I went down to micros, I took 2 trades yesterday that I shouldn't have done. So I'm just wondering whether having a little, sticking to the 1 contract, obviously ATR, depending on what the ATR is, I think sometimes that extra pressure, just makes me take a little bit safer trades. Let's just move this. Lance, what are you doing? It's okay. I'll have a look later. It might be something I've done. I've got a new strategy. I know why it is. I know why it is. I've got that ordered a 4. Let me just double check. And that's on the ES. I shouldn't be trading 4. So let's take that down to 1. I wonder if that's what it is. It shouldn't make a difference, should it? Or does it? I don't know. Let's try it one more time. No, still not working. No, I'm not sure. I'll have a play around with it later. Okay. Let me just disconnect and reconnect. I'll leave it at that. I might be missing something. Okay, 2 legs up. It's hard to see what's going on here. It should be the ATM that sets the number of orders. Yeah, I've got it on. Unless I've changed that. It shouldn't make a difference. I've selected that one. It doesn't matter what that says, does it? I've selected it. I'll have a look later. So 2 legs up, back to the EMA. So is this thing going higher or is it not? It's testing the, it's been up to the overnight lows. So that's fine. Don't worry. I'll just, just check my orders are opening okay.
Order submitted.
1 on this one. Yeah, that's fine.
Order cancelled.
So 90% done, back to 80% as it was before up until the end of the month. So what I've got to be careful of here, that there's not a wider channel up. No. I don't think it is a wider channel. It's just 2 legs up. We're below that EMA. This doesn't look like it's in a hurry to push higher. I've been scalping 1-minute charts, MNQ, a lot more fun than Mac at least. Yeah, I've just been trying to look. I'm just looking at the 5-minute chart here. I'm just trying to look at a bunch of charts, seeing if anything looks any different. there's no magic bullet anyway, is there? There's no magic bullet. I think it's just trying to find something that might suit your kind of personality. That looks like 2 legs back. I wonder if this thing is going to go down. It may well do. 2 legs up and a push down. Interesting. It's a bit congested though, so it could come down. It's a bit congested there to take that. I wouldn't consider that a high-low. It's gone too far, really. Although it looks like it's working. 2 legs up. Is this going to come down and retest this now? It may well do. Yeah, I don't see I can take that. It's only really a first entry. As tempting as it is, of course. There's no failure there or anything. YouTube is crushing. What do you mean? It's stopping again, is it? Crashing, you mean? Is it really? Again? Let me just have a look at my stream health. My stream health is showing excellent. So, God knows. I don't know. Let me have a look. I think it's almost impossible to trade pure max 4 ticks in these markets. Market has changed so much. Yeah, I agree. You know, have you noticed things are overlapping a lot more? I mean, yeah, I don't know is the answer. I don't know the easiest thing to do or what's. I do know sometimes these tight stops, I've looked back on a lot of my trades and sometimes they tick me out for 3 or 4 ticks or a point and then end up going the same direction. I got to say, tight stops, you've got no room for error. You've got to get an absolutely beautiful setup. And you've got no room for error. You know, I do wonder sometimes, even if you get a decent pullback, is it worth still taking a trade? You know what I mean? It's hard to say. And that says YouTube live stream. I don't know why. It's unusual. Same issues yesterday as well. I might change my settings. It's got stream health really good. And I mean, I trade in ultra low latency because it's kind of super quick. I think you're about 2 seconds behind me. But I don't know why. If it's doing it again, if it keeps doing it, let me know, and then I might have a play around with the settings over the weekend and see if it makes a difference. Little Ham, how you doing, buddy? So this looks like it may be testing these lows. Works here. Yeah, see, the beauty is, of trading, I'm all right, mate. I'm not too bad at all. It's been a difficult month, I've found. I had 3 good months, January, February, March. March was a great month for me. I had the best part of 12 grand. I couldn't seem to stop making a bit of money in there, but April's just been a lot more challenging. Price has been harder, and I think taking slightly riskier trades it's been quite brutal. It certainly has for me. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I did chat to a trader, actually, an experienced trader, and he told me a little bit about his journey. And it's very easy when you start making money to take your finger off the pulse. You know, you start to relax. You got money coming in, and it just takes that pressure off. And it's very easy to take riskier trades. In fact, he said it's very common. But it's just, I suppose thinking about it, it's just another part of the process. I had a blast on January and February, then lost my funded accounts. Yeah, I've lost a couple here and a couple there. I think just out of frustration, I've taken riskier trades out of frustration. I have managed to keep 6 of them reasonable, certainly above 2,000. But any others I had lower, I was just trying to kind of play catch up. And I think you've got to experience these pitfalls to sort of get over them. Trading doesn't all of a sudden flick a switch and you go from being a non-profitable trader to a profitable trader. I've spoken to loads of the thing I like about having a YouTube channel is you do get lots of people contact you. And I like that. I love having flipping out. And I'll tell you something, have you noticed the market's doing that a lot lately? Just flying in a direction. Now, what I will say is there's probably buyers there maybe. But price has been really spiking quickly. Whether it's randomly or not, I don't know. But, people are posting, news clips and stuff like this. But it's never reacted like this. On the very rare occasion, if it's eaten stops. Now, there may have been buyers there, a little double bottom possibly here, but that may have caused that. But it's been spiking. That trade I took the other day, it flew in a second. I mean, that is not normal market behaviour. Yeah, I mean, that one I took the other day, I mean, literally it was a couple of ticks away and bam, it kind of looked like a news. It dropped in less than a second. That is unusual. It doesn't usually do that unless there's a news event. But I don't know whether it's, there's a lot more tweets out with Trump that's creating stuff like that. I don't know, really. I mean, it's easy to blame Trump. I don't know. Perhaps the guy's got an end game. Perhaps he's a lot smarter than people give him credit for. I don't know is the answer. I'm not a politician. It'd be unfair just to assume everything's Trump's fault. I know market conditions, higher ATR and a lot more volatility is obviously down to the introduction of tariffs. So why he's doing that, crash the economy, lower the interest rate, I don't know. I've heard a bunch of different things. Truth is, I'm not a politician. I know very little about politics. So I'm not going to try and pretend I really know. I have my opinions, but they're not based on any particular great knowledge about politics because, I'm about the second run off the ladder when it comes to knowing about politics. But trading is a little bit more volatile. I have considered moving up to a higher time frame. Now, I would say that trade I took the other day that shot down in a second, I'm saying on a 15-minute chart or something like that, that volatility is probably going to look a little bit more controlled. Obviously, the shorter time frame, the quicker the bars, the more we kind of notice those volatility. An hour candle, you're probably going to notice very little different. But Karina, I need to find our stay in risk regard. No necessarily to damn the same price. Or Mac is meant to. Yeah, I think when you get a little bit of experience, and Mac told me this, I had an email message with Mac about a year and a half ago, and he said, look, I teach you the basics. You go away and you learn them, and then you learn how to read the charts, and you find your own ways, your own methods, and your own ways of doing things, and it's not always the same. It's like anything, I dare say an experienced doctor will do things very similar to another, very dissimilar to another doctor. We all kind of have our ways. If you remember back to school or college or university, you get some teachers who are very strict, very disciplined. They think they're doing the right thing. And some of my best teachers, I was big at music when I was at school, and my music teacher was just brilliant. And he, his attitude and the way he taught made me passionate about music, whereas other teachers, they're very strict and they kind of force you to follow a strict set of rules, and it just doesn't work. You kind of rebel. So everyone's got their own way of doing things, and that's kind of what makes the world more interesting. If we all did things exactly the same, we'd all be a bunch of robots. So Max said you go away and you find your own way of doing things. And if you look at Panda is a typical example. Panda said he tried Pats for a few years, just found it too difficult. And then he kind of found his own way. And you've got to say he's very good at what he does. I have tried to follow Panda, and I still kind of, look at the way he does things. And what I like about him now, things have changed. We used to have 2 legs up. A lot of the time he'd wait for a move below the EMA. Now, if we get 2 legs up, he tends to drop his order in right at the top, puts his stop up here, and then goes for 1-to-1. But the beauty is, if you're going short in it, I mean, look, for instance, if you decided to take a short here, it came down, stopped you out, and ended up coming down anyway. But with Max, when it is choppy, and especially if you haven't been doing it for years, it's very easy to get caught in the crossfire, only to go in the direction that you think price is going. We had a channel down there with a break. Gut feeling there. I waited for a lower high. We had one there, too far from the EMA, but if you'd have took that one, triggered you, came back up a few times, and then ended up pushing down. So you may decide, I'm not going to jump in here now. I'm going to put an order in. I'll put my stop here and get a 1-to-1 on the way down. So there's so many different ways you could adjust and change things. And I think it's something that may come to you in time. You may slowly change it, adapt. But don't ever feel under pressure that you have to trade exactly the same as Mac. You have to do this. When you start to get experienced, you kind of follow your own way of doing things. Al Brooks trades 5 minute chart in the futures ID. I like try that. Yeah, I mean, Al Brooks, you can't knock Al Brooks. He comes over as the most boring uncle in the world, but the guy's he's like a robot. He's like a computer on legs. That trading brain is something everyone should pay attention to. Love that Penguin shows live trades now. Yeah, he does. He's very, very skilled, Penguin is, and I think that's to do with kind of the person he is. But he's found a way of trading without using so tight stops. I will say I don't know how many times I get stopped out for 3, 4, 5 ticks and it ended up going in the same direction. So I had the direction right. I have a tendency of getting stuck sometimes in the congestion. Rather than waiting for a clear pullback, I get in sometimes a bit early. So what I like about Penguin is he has that way of getting in somewhere but giving himself some space with his stop. That way he doesn't get caught in the crossfire, and he finds his way down to where he wanted to get out. It happens to me so much. Penguin's brilliant. I can't do... Yeah, it's... Some of his setups are clear, but others, there's... they seem way more advanced. Do you mean Penguin because you said Panda? Sorry. No. Bear me a second. I don't mean Panda. I mean, Panda comes over a nice guy, but he can't trade to save his life. Now, whether he's given up trying to trade and he's just a YouTuber, I don't know. But I've never got Panda. I think Panda's got that far behind looking for proper trades. It's more entertainment now. You know what I mean? And so, no, Penguin's a really skilled trader. So you absolutely want to pay attention to him if you can. I have tried a couple of times. I've kind of swapped backwards and forwards onto Penguin. But when I go onto Penguin, all I see is Pat's trades. But I think it's... What I found is sometimes when I started doing Panda, I actually took some of the same trades as Mac. So 2 legs back like Penguin, sorry. Mac will take those trades. So I think some of his setups, leg down, 2 attempts to push higher, we can take some of those. Panda by the money has changed his style a lot. Used to make Mac one put. Yeah, I don't get him. I wouldn't advise you to look and copy like him. See, he's doing it again. Have we got news? Here we have. I haven't got my news set up. Silly boy, Lancey. Okay, news. Starts every stream with a new set of evals. Yeah. I mean, he gets a fair following, doesn't he? He's got 20,000 subscribers, so I'm guessing he does it as part-time, makes money off evaluations and makes money. I want to be a trader. I want to be a trader for a living. I like the extra time I got. I like the lifestyle. I like the challenge. And I want to make money. So 1, 2, 3. Is that a triple test and a big push up? It's very tempting to take that. Bounce, bounce, bounce. We've already had a break in a new low. Trouble is, is this thing moving down? It's hard to say. Kind of does look like a kind of a reversal there, doesn't it? I was tempted to take that, but it's just too big. Oh, Christ, it's 13, 14 points. It's a big no-no. You know, I've had a think about micros and stuff like that. And what I think I'm going to do is maybe split up some of my accounts. Maybe I'm going to stick with minis, I think. I'm just going to try and take better trades. I look back in March and I took some good quality trades. And then in April, I took some crap trades. One of my biggest problems is taking trades in congestion. So it's useful to record yourself. If you don't record yourself and you want to kind of do it, I look back because I like to listen to what I'm saying as well. It's not that I like the sound of my own voice. I just like to know. I try to listen to what I'm saying before I take a trade. And so many times in April, I've said something about caution and taken a trade at the same time. Doesn't seem to make sense. So I'm sticking with a one contract for now, but I may split up some of my accounts, which relieves the pressure. I've just found by going for micros, sometimes I take riskier trades, and that's kind of not what I want to do. I don't see the point in going for less risk and then ended up taking riskier trades. I just need to focus on taking, if I go for one contract, 3 points, I just need to focus on taking 2 to 3 good trades a week, and that's it. And forget trying to take, you don't have to take a trade every day. You can trade 2 trades a week. If you trade quality trades and you take 2 a week, that's $300. That's over $1,000 a month. I need to try and take 1 day at a can and just sit there until I see something that blows me away, and anything else, stay away from. Done that also. Type something about having patience and discipline in the chat, and then 2 seconds later, yeah, that trade I took the other day where we had that stupid quick move down. But did you notice what happened? We came off the top and bottom, and I remember saying we've had 2 attempts to push high and we couldn't get above the midline, so we have to apply caution. And straight away I jumped into a higher low. So there's no point in saying you've got to be careful going long because we're struggling to get up and the thing comes down, and now I'm wondering why. So push up, we've had a break here. So there is a possibility that this could be coming down in a fashion. We've had a bit of a correction there. So I just need to focus on taking better quality trades. Nothing more, nothing less. Trading's simple if you can follow the rules. Got a channel with a break. There's kind of a failed breakout there. Trouble is, look at the size of the bar. It's about 8.5 points. You know, I think even though I'm back, you know, trading a mini, I think I still need to pay attention to the size of the bar. And once it starts to get 20 points, 25 points and above, I need to start thinking. See, when you see this pushing up, there's going to be traders thinking, oh, here we go for a second leg, we'll jump in here. And look how that happens. It pushes all the way up and comes all the way down. Crazy. So is this a push down? We got a few attempts to push high and then down again. So is this thing going to continue down? It's hard to say. So there is a second entry long there. But we pushed right up and then came right down. So kind of is a second entry long, but the bar's no good, I don't think. It's a bit unclear. Is there something coming down? See, that there's a temptation to want to go long there, and it may work. But this, to me, push down and a bunch of sideways kind of has a bearish feel to it. So it's not a great setup at all, by no means, really. We've only had really one leg down and a little bit of congestion. So I think what I need to do is try and talk myself out of trades. And what I found as well is some really good setups I tend to leave without never doing that big uptrend. Now there's a failure there with a bullish bar trapped. Break, maybe an attempt at a new high. So we could have had a small break and a new high there. Try to go once, try to go twice. So that has worked for 3 points, but the signal bar is no good. I'm just going to have to treat it like it is. The signal bar's naff. Let me just switch this back over to 34. So a leg and a leg, bearish bar. I like that. Whenever we tend to get setups like this, which almost curve out and up, they tend to do well. It does look like there's a bit of a support along there. Testing VWAP up here, is it? I usually have it. I've had it on other charts. So if we get a short up here, that wouldn't be a terrible trade, I don't think. If it's off that top, a lower high will be a better option, but we've got 2 legs up. So a lower high here wouldn't be a bad idea. Back to that EMA. We've had 2 legs up. There is support there. We're kind of above it. I just can't take that bar. The lower high would be a better option. but move down one leg, two leg. There's almost like a couple of legs, isn't there? Leg down, two attempts to push higher. See, Dan's got that there. I actually prefer it there because it coincides with this. So I want to see some really rejection off here. I don't think I'd put a larger channel just yet. Because it's only really two legs up. There is two bull bars there. Strong one there, which is triggered. So there's a short off support. There's bars trapped there, but I never have much luck with those, so I think the better option, the safer option, is to take the lower high if we get one. I mean, it may push down, but what I will say is that I wouldn't want to buy right at the top there, right above there. I think that's madness, but it's not a huge risk, that, so it's tempting to take that. So it would have worked for 3 points. I think it'd be madness to buy there, so you'd expect that to get stopped out, wouldn't you? Every time I take those, I don't have a lot of luck with them, which is why I wait for the higher low, but sometimes you just don't get it. Now, it is off the key entry point. We've had 3 pushes up. See if we get a lower high. If this pushes up now and goes above this, then I'd say there may be something else, but it does look like 2 legs up. There's a lower high there off the key entry point. So another bull bar stuck there.
Order submitted.
The only issue is if there is a bigger channel, we may get a second entry long off there. So and we're above the EMA. I'm just going to sit tight here.
Order cancelled.
We could come down, trap that short, see. I like that. That's good, the way it held. If there is a bigger channel, it could clip that, which I think it may do, and then have a second entry long. But would you want to go long in there? I don't see how you can, really. Absolutely congestion, yeah. How you doing, John? It's tempting lower high. It may work. It is 2 legs up. And of course, when you do nothing, down it comes. Look at that. There you go. Friday anyway, cheers. There's the issue, say, possible second entry long. Is it too risky going long into this when we've just bounced off the tops? That's why it's a bit dangerous to take that as well. So it is off the key entry point. It worked for a few points. Was it 22 ticks? So it worked for 3.5, 4 points. I'm just concerned because we've come off the top and there's a lower high, so you just don't know, do you? And is this 2 legs down, or is this a second attempt and then down we come? See how it went up and took that out, but it didn't touch that. Trouble is, it does look like 2 legs up, so I don't think I'll be comfortable with going long. But it is 2 legs back, so what do you do? That would be the better option. That is vulnerable now. If this thing was going to go up, that wouldn't get stopped out. It's 2 legs back, right tight off the key entry point. If this thing's going longer, that's a strong position. So my gut feeling is this is coming down. In other words, we've got 2 legs up. Now, 2 legs down. If that gets any lower, that's not going up. This is coming down. Now, when you see a bar like that come right from the top, right for the bottom, if this was a channel, strong trend channel, that would continue going. It wouldn't get taken out, in my opinion. So that lower high, it worked for a small scalp, but I've talked about trades like that before, down and across. It's too tight. I prefer my lower highs to be more like this, not down and across. They're vulnerable there. So that would have been the better one to take and hold off the top. So if you were like I think that was actually a nice trade. We got two clear legs up, bull bar trapped, nice bearish bar right off the key entry point, and it worked beautifully. Get away from my scalping an AQ. 1010 was going for 40 ticks. Good on you, mate. No, losers. I'm done for the day. Yeah, you too. Have a good weekend, buddy. So we've had a bounce off the middle line, so you've got to be a little bit cautious there. We came off there and bounced off the middle line and came back, so it could push back up a little bit, but this looks like a leg down with two pushes up. My gut feeling is this is going to come down here. It's so tempting to want to get into a trade, but I just can't really. So, I mean, really, if you wanted to take a trade there to clip the top and ride it down, it's a very small risk, that. So let's have a look. So realistically, it's about 3.5, 3 3/4. We get a bit tighter. 3 3/4, 3.5 point risk at support, riding it down. That's just two legs up, bearish bar. I think that's a good solid trade, to be fair. But I usually wait for the lower high. Now, we did get a lower high, but down and across. I don't like those. So we got to move down, 2 attempts. That's a perfect penguin setup, that is. Short, profit up here, out the way, giving him some room, and down here at the lows. But look how well that worked. Perhaps I should trust my gut instinct there and just take that. But look at that, leg down, 2 legs up. I mean, look at that. I mean, look at that. I've taken that one, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 points down the bottom for a 3-point risk, 1 to 10. I mean, now I know it's happened. Kind of easy to say that, but it's just one of those things. There's not much you can do. Is this going to come down? I expect it to come down for that second leg. We've cleared out some liquidity here. I expect to set a leg and a leg down. Now, that could be it. Second entry short here. I wouldn't mind that. So, leg down, 2 attempts to push higher, which failed monumentally. See if we can get a second entry short here. Two legs here would take us right down to this second leg. Sometimes it don't, it just drops, which is frustrating. And there is a lower high there. Trapping that long. It's so tempting to take that. Trouble is, it's 30 ticks. Do I think it's going to come out the bottom? Yeah, absolutely. You can't take it. Second entry long. See if we can get a failure. Could argue you've had a small break in a new high.
Order submitted.
Why can I not sell that? Why won't that sell?
Order filled.
Oh, crikey. That came in a bit late. What is going on here? Am I in or am I out? Oh my God, what is going on here? I'm stuck. Something's gone terribly wrong here. Come on, something settle. My trade's stuck. Oh, come on, come on, come on. I don't want to touch anything. Rhythmic issues. I can't move anything.
Target filled.
Has it closed? I think so. Let me just disconnect and reconnect so it worked. Fingers crossed. I like the fact that it came back and then dropped below there, so I think it was worth taking that. At least it sounds like a winner. Let's hope so, mate. It's gone a bit funny, isn't it? I don't think the other... I think it was only one of them that triggered, I think. Which is strange. Yeah. Won't sign in now. At least on Rhythmic, my profit is still there. Can't sign in now. I can't connect now. Oh, dear. Well, to be fair, up until you mentioned it a day or two ago, Karina, and now I haven't had an issue with Rhythmic, but all of a sudden now... I can't connect now. Jesus Christ. But I'm looking at... Okay, we're connected. I'm looking at my dashboard, and I'm not in a trade at the moment, fortunately. Did 74 work? No, it didn't. My other one didn't. Let me just drop an order in here just to see if it works.
Order submitted.
30. It's the wrong one. That's why you.
Order cancelled.
33 and 74. Using my funded futures with Tradeovate. Yeah. Hopefully that'll work better for you. Let's just reload this. Leg down, 2 legs up, leg down. That makes sense. Oh dear. So I'm wondering whether we're having something like this now. So we're testing this underside channel down, 2 attempts to push higher. So I'm looking for ejection here somewhere. It doesn't look like we're getting it. Didn't have an issue this morning with Apex or Take Profit Trader. That's the first issue I've had with Rhythmic since we started. Well, for oh crikey, 12 months, 8 months maybe. Okay, so Mac has got the same as me apart from that. He's just got a slightly bigger range. I was just using that, well, it's still the midline. 2 legs up. This to me looks like a leg down with 2 attempts. I still think this will go lower. Leg down, 2 attempts to push higher. See if we can get a break and a new high. So, leg with a correction and a leg down. Okay, so that account's up quite nice today. So I was trading the 2. The lower high you took, not concerned that it's right into your What I like about it is it looks like we've had a small break here and we were trapping that bull bar there. So my gut feeling this was going to push down to the lows. What I'm seeing here is a penguin style trade, leg down, 2 legs up, leg down. So I expected it to break these lows. So I gave it a little bit of time to come back, and when it dropped again, my gut feeling it was going to break these lows. Yeah, I take stuff sometimes out of a gut feeling as well. It is a lower high. It's quite tight there. There is a small break and a new high. Then we had a bearish bar. There's bound to be buyers there. It ticks up by 1 tick and starts to move down. So I think leg and a leg. That's kind of why I took it. So I may just switch on to the other account, which is it. 174, and I'm just going to trade this one on its. No, that's not one. Let's have a look. Let's leave it as it is. 133. Leg and a leg up. We need to get below this EMA. So channel break, new high. If we can get strong push below that EMA, that may interest me to go short. So leg down, 2 legs up, looking for a leg down. That looks like a correction to me. Channel break, new high. So penguin style, we need to get strong below that EMA though. Okay, so I'm no longer thinking that now. You went long, did you? Let me just see if I can. Everything's okay.
Order submitted. Order cancelled.
Yeah, it's all right. I was just concerned that. Yeah. I'm not sure about this because we have that leg down, 2 legs up. Often we'll make a second leg down. Now we did, but it wasn't quite as big as that. So leg, 2 legs up, leg. But yeah, you know, I've said this before. I think you need to do what you think's right. Once you spend so much time looking at these, you'll have a good indication of where they're going. If you can get in, you think this is going to push in some cases worth it. Now, it might be a risky trade, but if you're risking 3 points to make 30 points, all of a sudden that sounds like a sensible trade to me. It depends where you think it's going to go. So everyone trades different. You know, I assume sometimes everyone, you know, that tunes into this stream trades Pats. You know, it's not always the case. What is going on here? What is going on? Okay. Just going to restart my Ninja Trader. Something's just not right with it. I can't now. Oh my God, come on.
Order submitted. Order cancelled.
It's all right. I've just opened the CL chart and it's just froze for some reason. Ah, it's gone finally. Yeah. There is kind of a failure there. Not sure what's going on at the moment. Failure, lower high. Trouble is, it's quite close to that EMA, so got a break, one attempt to go high, second attempt. I'm just leaving it. It is a failure, but I'm not a fan of it. It's just choppy. I've got to start. If it's not right, I've just got to leave it. I have just got into riskier trades lately, so the simple thing is, if it's not an obvious setup, you just got to leave it. I mean, you can argue it's a second entry long as well, so, but no, I'm just staying out of it. Yeah, Marco's just said it's barcoding. Barcoding's the new lottery ticket. That's right, isn't it? You buy the ticket, you take your chance. It kind of looks like two legs back, but the fact that that's triggered and come nearly all the way down, yeah, I don't know. You just can't take it. It's just that bar there's floating in the middle of nowhere. Might work, might not. Yeah, it's congested. It'd just be a punt, wouldn't it, really? It'd be like betting on a football match, that. But probably less chance of winning. Okay, it did look like kind of a second entry, but it is choppy. And the fact that it triggered and came down there, it's good enough reason to leave it. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Okay, is my stream still shutting and opening? Is it, or is it settled down a little bit? Fridays sometimes get better after lunch. Yeah. My first proper workout in 6 months last night. I'm waiting for the muscle soreness. It's usually later that evening or the following day. I didn't go too mad, but I did kind of a full body workout. His abs. I'd rather do them on their own. Most of the time, London session is better than New York. I never trade London session. It's hard to trade London session on here because if you look at it, that is it. I suppose if you change that and took it down to 1,000 or 5,000 or 1 minute or 2 minutes, there'll obviously be a lot more price action. So channel break new high. Where's this thing going now? Is this continuing down? It's hard to say. I have a gut feeling this thing is channel down, 2 attempts to push high. I don't know. That's the answer. I'm just guessing. Okay. My thoughts were this was going to come down, and I kind of think it is. Or is there something like that? I'm not sure. So leg down, 2 legs up. Okay, so channel break, new high, push down. Let's see if we can get a second entry short here. I mean, whether it's retesting this, I don't know, but we tried a bunch of times and we couldn't get higher there, so we shall see. So a little bit of choppy, maybe a breakout that's failing. I certainly wouldn't want to be getting into a long here at all. Not saying it's not going to go up, but bar was no good. Now that is tempting. By God, it's tempting. Just bloody user. How can you take a bar like that? $30 ticks, about 7.5 points. It's madness. Looks better on there, but it's still 30 ticks and it's triggered. That's not what you want to see. That's why we go for second entries, I suppose, isn't it? Now, bit choppy. Is this pushing it? I got no idea. Chris, how you doing, my friend? You okay, bud? No, I'm not taking it, mate. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. On this second 2000 shot, we got a channel down, a little push up, big bearish bar, but the bearish bar's triggered and pushing up. That's why we kind of go for second entries, because it may fail. We've had a couple of legs up, we're going a little bit sideways, and often these little breakouts fail. I have a feeling this won't, because we've pushed up strong, we've pushed into it and then dropped immediately. So my gut feeling is this will probably go down. But I certainly wouldn't take it. We got no trigger here. We got a trigger on here, but as soon as that starts to push back, it's why really you got to wait for failures. Good on you, mate. Got to wait for failures or second entries or something like that. That would be a better indication. But what I will say is that channel, if it is a channel, we've had a break, 1-2 pushes up to a new high, so it has played out. My gut feeling, there's a bearish feel to this. Push down, a couple of attempts to go higher. We've had this third attempt and we can't get very high. And we've had a quick, strong move. So my gut feeling is we're going to push down and test these areas. Now, there's no setup here anyway. So there's nothing I can do anyway. So I'm waiting for something obvious because I could be wrong. You know, we could push up. But the fact that that channel has played out, and we tried a bunch of times and then dropped quickly. So I'm just going to sit and wait. So maybe some buyers there. It actually looks better on this chart. Buyers there maybe. We got buyers there, which is triggered. So if that came down, trap buyers. But it looks like it's heading for that stop. So there's no trade there anyway. So we're kind of stuck here, aren't we, in the middle of nowhere, really. We could have a second. There's a bunch of things. I mean, a lot of the stuff I'm saying at the moment is just possibly this, possibly that. 1, 2, 3. So one attempt. Second attempt. Is this a failure? It would be a hidden second entry short. Slowing up a minute. Okay, how long have we been going for? Hour or 40 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break just to make a quick cup of tea. It's just slow at the moment, so I might as well take advantage of topping up my fluids. So I'll leave you with it for a second. I've just put that on there, 5 minutes. So I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes and I'll be back. It's back. There's sell orders on Bookmap at 520 and a load more about 27. So 520, I dare say traders will take profits here and above all this as well. So I'd be shocked if this thing comes down. Okay, channel, maybe a small break. So if this is ranging here, we've had a breakout here. I expect one this end as well. And there's a load of orders set up around, well, there's a load at 20, which is the midline. On Bookmap, there's a load there. And there's some up here as well, which would give us the same of that. So I think in the short term, this is probably going to go a little bit higher. Certainly up to about 20, I'd say. Well, there's orders sat there, so now they are passive orders, but price moves towards liquidity. There is a big black spot down here, so my gut feeling it's going to push to the stronger, which is up here. Now, is there a bigger channel there? I'm not so sure. Could be a spiking channel. Doesn't look terrible. So I think this is probably going to go up. Now it may come down to here. It's hard to say really. I don't know the answer. I think I'm talking out my arse today, I think. Like I haven't eaten anything today, so we'll get some highly nutritious Philadelphia light and tasty snack. Okay, a bunch of orders here at 20, so I reckon that's where it's going to get to initially. Well, that's where it's pushing up to now. Whether they sit there or get pulled, I don't know, but Sean, how you doing, my friend? Can you talk a bit about Replicanto ghost orders? Yes, I can. Okay, we talked about this. You messaged me, didn't you? Okay, so I'm going to drag this in here. Okay, so when I open a trade, these highlights, so always have your position. So this is a rhythmic. So always have your rhythmic positions there. That's all that's important. If these are all greyed out, you're in no positions. If they've got a red or they're highlighted red, you'll know the difference. Yeah, problem's not Replicanto. Whether it's Ninja Trader, whether it's rhythmic, I don't know. But I always have this. So I'm only trading a couple of these, so I'm waiting for payments. So I always have that on there. So there's my main account. This is the other one I'm trading at the moment. I have got a flatten all option, but what happens is when trades close, these will grey out, which means the trades are closed. Always have your orders and positions tabs in these two boxes here, and a lot of the times you'll see it, orders will still be left there. Now, what you want to do when that happens is go over to your Ninja Trader dashboard, disconnect and reconnect, and they'll disappear. If they're left there, or you try and click close, sometimes that can open. Now, I've not had any issues with ghost trades, but the way you describe it, that's the only reason. So when a trade closes, always make sure these two boxes are empty, and always make sure all these are greyed out. If these are greyed out, that's the important thing. It doesn't matter what they're showing there. You're not in a trade. Still get copied to the broker. Well, these are all sim. All these live accounts are sim. So it doesn't really matter. So there's three things you always need on your chart: the orders and positions tab in NinjaTrader, and the positions tab with I use Ninja and I close the ghost orders. I need to close them on TradeAway. Yeah, all I do is next time it happens, I'll show you. You'll see orders still there. The important part is they're all grayed out, which means there's no orders in with NinjaTrader. Don't click close or right click or close or click anything, because sometimes that will trigger trades. Go into connections, click disconnect, reconnect, and they'll disappear. So always have your positions with Rhythmic and always have your positions and orders with NinjaTrader. And it's as simple as that. If something more happens that you can't seem to control, try clicking flatten all. But I've never had an issue with this. And that's what I do. I do hear people talking about ghost things, and I think it's just orders that are sat there that haven't been, let me have a look. I had a nightmare. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. What have I missed? I use Ninja, and to close the ghost orders, I need to close them on TradeAway. Yeah, see, I don't trade with TradeAway currently. I trade with I don't like. Yeah, no one's saying that. See, I use just mainly Apex at the moment, so I use Rhythmic, so I always make sure I have that Rhythmic. Or use your own data provider. So that's the only thing I know about ghost orders, Sean. But have a play around with them, bud. I wanted to ask you a question, Sean. Anyway, I'll message you later, mate. I was after something, and you may be able to help. You're in that certain part of the world. It's not drugs, mate. Don't worry. I was after actually a fake Rolex. I've got a Tudor, but I can't afford a Rolex. But I absolutely love the GMT Pepsi, the Rolex GMT Pepsi. But they're about 15, 14, 16 grand, something like that. But I know you're part of the world, so you can get reasonable fakes. So if you can get one, I'll message you later. I'll send you the money, PayPal or something, and send you the money in the postage. And then see if you can get one, let me know, yeah? But I love the Pepsis. I absolutely love them. I just can't afford 14 to 16 grand. And I want to say not yet. Yeah, I know you get these, what they call super clones. I know they're like $600 or $1,000 or something crazy like that. So yeah, I know they don't last, mate. To be honest with you, I mean, if you can get a real one, send me a real one. But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. You just can't get fake stuff in the UK. They're heavy like that. Well, you probably can, but none like that. But I know they have those super cloned ones, but I think they range from $600 to $1,000 or something. It's not even affording them. It's trying to get someone to sell you them nowadays. You can't buy new ones for love nor money. But to be honest with you, I've had no issues. I trade with Apex and I trade with Rhythmic, and you see me live trades. I've never had any issues. The only issue I had was that one this morning. Why? I think that was Rhythmic because NinjaTrader, because my thing grayed out. But we're in business. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of know the issues that I come across. But touch wood, I know they had loads of issues with Rhythmics a few years ago, Russell. Lance, you said streaming helps your trading. It adds pressure. What are the downsides to live streaming? I don't know, really. I thought long and hard about whether I should stream. So, first and foremost, I started streaming because I was less likely to do stupid things. That's why, if it's not grayed out, click it. Yeah, absolutely. So, first and foremost, I'll come to that in a minute, bud. When a trade closes, I always check this. If they're grayed out, trades are closed. If they're not, just click the cross and that will do it. But reference NinjaTrader if there's anything showing in the orders or positions. As long as these are grayed out, there's no issues. Just go onto your NinjaTrader whatever it is, and just click connections, just disconnect and reconnect, and they'll disappear. But the important thing is, if you're trading with Rhythmic, with Apex, or whatever prop firm you choose, always make sure these are grayed. That's the only important thing. It doesn't matter what anything else does. If these are grayed out, there's no live trades with Rhythmic, and Rhythmic is the important thing. That message, streaming. Okay, so I started streaming initially because I thought if people, it's like anything. If you, I mean, I don't know what a lot of you guys, your jobs, but if you're doing your job and all of a sudden you get your managers or your bosses coming around and watching you, you're trying to not make a mistake, or you try to do a good job, or you try to look like you know what you're doing. That's initially why I started streaming. Second reason is when I first started to learn to trade, Andrew Lockwood was the guy I first came into contact with. He says, surround yourself with like-minded people and people you want to be like. Lots of people, lots of different voices, you tend to learn more. So that was the second reason. In fact, they were the main two reasons. So when I started streaming, I found out that some of these companies did affiliates. So I applied for affiliate code and got affiliate code. And I mean, I've been honest with you guys before. I tend to make an average of $1,200 a month from affiliates. So that kind of funds my education, if you like. So I'm not going to lie to you. That has definitely helped massively. Of course it is. You know, we've all kind of got to earn a living. So I used to work part-time, but with the affiliates more or less covering most of my trading costs. Not this month. I've gone a bit mad, but I gave up work maybe 12 months ago because I was earning enough from payments. As I say, last year, I think I had $24,000, which UK is about £19,000. You can survive on that with my wife's wage. My costs were more or less covered by the affiliate. This year, I've already hit that level. So it's kind of part and parcel. And I think trading's boring. I like trading. Now, you guys may think, or some of you may think, yeah, but I can't concentrate. Trust me, I know exactly what's happening with price now. We've had two legs down and a push off key entry point. I know exactly what's happening. I've got one of these types of brains that if I'm thinking about something, like you may think quietly about something, I don't. I think out aloud. I've got a very active brain, and I can talk to you, and I know exactly what I'm looking at. So it doesn't affect my concentration. The only thing that affects my trading is lack of patience, jumping into and not focusing what I'm doing. Sometimes if I'm about to take a trade, I'll stop talking. I'll focus on what I'm doing. But apart from that, I don't have any issues. My brain kind of, it's like driving. It can kind of take over. And so I don't think there's a downside. When I first started, there was a bit of a downside. Sometimes you had people giving you a load of grief saying you can't trade. And that was when I was bloody useless, saying you shouldn't be streaming, you shouldn't be teaching people. I've never taught anybody. I've never taken money off people trading. So that's the initial downside. And I got a couple of people specifically, one guy specifically, who just constantly gave you grief. So I disconnected the comments, but you know, I talk to you guys, and I think it's a plus, personally. And I know everyone's got their own opinion. So a downside for me, not necessarily. But I dare say, you know, everyone's slightly different. But I've got a very, very complicated brain. I'm kind of very, very wired. So I think aloud, and I talk aloud as well. Sometimes if I'm walking down the street, I'll be chatting to myself. But it's just kind of how I process. So when you hear me talking, it's not that I'm not focusing what I'm doing. Channel down, break, waiting for a new low, off support. I know exactly what's going on with price. I can see it. It's just how it works with me. I remember when Lance first started live stream on YouTube a few years back. Yeah. 2 years ago last Christmas. It's not grayed out. Click. Yeah. Appreciate your honesty. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's a bunch of things. You know, I can't say that the affiliates weren't important, because they are. You know, when you're trading, especially if you give up work, you have to have some kind of income come in. So I looked at that affiliate money as paying for my kind of education. You know what I mean? My wife earns well. She's on a good job. And I went from working full time to working. I changed my job to allow me to trade. So I changed my job so I could work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so I could trade Monday to Thursday. But when I started making bits of money, that enabled me to give up my job so I could focus solely on trading. Trading is to toxic people. Yeah. You know, don't get me wrong, look, guys, I'm 55. I know how the world works. You know, I'm not naive enough to think everyone wants to see you succeed. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I watch Tom Hugard now and again. Now, he's an accomplished trader, a seasoned trader. He's been doing it for years. And I happened to watch him a month or two ago, and he took 2 losses in a row, and I actually felt good. Not that he lost money, that a seasoned professional trader lost 2 trades in a row. Because, you know, sometimes you tend to think you're the only ones taking losses. You know, I know they say you have to be able to take losses, but the professionals don't. They absolutely do. So I think sometimes when you see someone else losing, it kind of makes you feel like you're not on your own. And in a strange way, you kind of feel better. And that you know, if someone else has had a tough day and I've had a good day, I feel good. So, you know, it's a bit of an odd, sadistic way of looking at it, but it's kind of how human beings feel. You know, if someone else struggles and I do well, I feel better because I've had a good day, you know, and I'm not the only one who's struggling. Started to, I never thought that is a disaster. Donate. I remember when he started, I never talk. That was a disaster. Donate my money to Apex. Now is a guru. No, I'm not a guru at all, Karina. There's no difference between me and you guys. I'm exactly the same as you guys. I'm a person who wants to trade and who has their moments and their struggles. But I think it is good to share it with other people because this business can be brutal at times. And I've had days, and I'm not kidding you, there's been 2 occasions where I've gone downstairs in tears. You know, I'm a guy, you know, my wife, I've been together for 30 years. My wife's seen me cry 3 times. When I had a baby, when I lost my mum, and 4 times. Twice when I've lost accounts. I was doing so well, I blew accounts. It's a tough business. So having people around you makes it easier. It genuinely does. Don't spend your time on your own stuck in a room. Get out and talk to other people, learn a few things, you know, have messed ideas and all this sort of stuff. And you guys are not just the people that watch me stream. You guys are the people who I spend my day with. You're my work colleagues. We just happen to be in different countries. I work with you guys every day. We talk business. We trade these ideas, those ideas. You take wins, I take wins. You take losses, I take losses. That's all it is. I want to tell you, don't buy any more evals. And now he passed in one day. I'll tell you what, I've been shocking for evals. I think I've spent about $1,500 on evals and PA accounts. I had a really good March, and then when I had a couple of losses, it messed with me head a bit, and I just went stupid. Fortunately, 6 of my 7 accounts with good money in, I was careful with those because there's money in them and they have value. But I went for a stage of getting a new PA and just taking a stupid risk just to try and give it a boost. At least you have a lot of payouts. It's worse for someone spending a lot on evals and having 0 pay. Oh, mate, I feel you. Absolutely. My desk took a kicking during March. See, I had a great March. I had a good January. February was okay. I made money in February. But March was great for me. But then all of a sudden, I took a few losses, and it gets inside your head, doesn't it? And Let me have a look. Affiliate from Apex or Dan? No, I don't get anything from Dan. Well, I say I don't get anything. He lets me use his stream. That's what I put that thing on from Dan, because he's a mate of mine, a trader mate of mine. I have spent a lot of time, or he spent a lot of time answering my questions over the last 4 years. No. Dan lets me use the stream without paying. He don't pay me a single thing. And I wouldn't take it because, as I've said before, at no point in my trading career will I ever teach, not that I'm good enough anyway, and I'd never take money off people because people like Dan, people like Marco, and a bunch of you guys as well have given me time and answered things. So for me, it's about passing it on to the newer generation of traders. When you get a bit more experience, you help those. So no, there's the only affiliate money I get is from Apex. And the only reason I do that is because it doesn't cost you guys anything more. So for me, it's a way of getting some of my money back off Apex. So that's the only reason I do it. I even, when I first started streaming and I started getting evaluation money, affiliate money, I even messaged Apex and said, is there any way instead of me having this affiliate money, I can't knock that few percent off some of the people who come in my stream, knock it off their fees? And they said no, because if somebody finds out, all hell will break loose, because other people will lose their fit. But that's what I did, to say, look, instead of giving me 10 or 12% or whatever it is, knock that off theirs. But they said no, because if other people found out, people will be using yours, not using theirs. We'd lose the bigger streamers and that. But, there we go. But, yeah, I know you could take what I say with a pinch of salt. I could be full of shit. I could be just telling you what you want to hear. But I've always tried to be honest. Because, without you guys, I'm just a boring old guy sat in a room by himself. But I have the luxury of being able to share my days with other people and getting a bit of money for it to help my costs. So, I don't try and be anything I'm not really. I'm just like you guys. I have my fair share of struggles, but I've been doing it long enough now to be able to start to make a bit of money. But when I had such a good January, February, March, I kind of thought I'd cracked it, and then I took a few losses, and then I started feeling really disheartened. I thought, I've had 3 great months. I didn't think... Thanks, Matt, I appreciate it. I didn't think... I thought a lot of those feelings and that frustration was kind of gone, but it just goes to show it doesn't just switch off overnight. It slowly gets less and less and less. So I've had to really dig deep. And part of that digging deep was going for a phase of just throwing a bit more money at it again. So a chunk of that money I did make, fortunately, I had some money to give back, but I threw away this month. It's got to be $1,500 in just stupid blown accounts, just kind of that frustration. I passed on a long second down here. Yeah, it's just a bit choppy at the moment. We're kind of in the middle of this bit of a range, so it's hard to know. Congrats on the affiliate cash. It's crazy you have 40-ish watchers, and that's enough. Let me give you a bit of an idea, mate. Let me give you a reality check here. What's his name? Who's the gingerhead guy? Not Nutty, the other one. Who's the main man? Yeah, I know what you mean. It's crazy. Patrick Wayland. Patrick Wayland in affiliates makes about $20,000 per day. $20,000 per day. That's about $400,000 a month in affiliates. And he makes way more on affiliates than he does in trading. So it just goes to show you. But I'm happy with what I get. He's a marketeer, not... Yeah, I mean, he's kind of a... He doesn't actually show... I'm pretty sure he doesn't show his trades, does he? Exponential, you're a very kind person. Lots of people really enjoy the time you put into the stream. Oh, I appreciate that, mate. It's always nice to say that, you keep people company and that. I appreciate it. just trying to miss. Sometimes we have a big chat, don't we? I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. That says live personalities, entertaining. Yeah, see, I think compared to people like Nutty, I'm a bit boring. British people are a bit quiet and refined. Don't get me wrong, if I had 4 or 5 pints of beer, I'd probably end up probably a lot like Patrick Whelan. You're a good man and a good trader. Thank you, Little Am. I appreciate that one. You're Niles. Handsome British man. I remember that comment. I may even take a photo of that comment. Oh, great. The guy who gets... Yeah, he does. He did that once, didn't he? You'll never shell your affiliate code. I am having to look for it. You'll never shell your affiliate code. I am having to look for it. Yeah, it's nice. That to me is kind of paid for my education. So, you know, if I give you guys a bit of company, and I genuinely mean that, it doesn't cost you guys anything. You can use anyone's code. You could even use whatever code Apex have. So I wouldn't do it if I was making money out of other people, because as far as I'm concerned, people haven't charged me for advice. You know, I've messaged Marco and messaged Dan, messaged people like Jope and other people. Anybody I know is a good trader and asked for advice many times, and no one's ever, you know, they've quite happily passed it on to me. So, you know, if someone helps me, I help them back. You know, Jan Akitri, as we see him, he's a good friend of ours of the stream. He's the one that supplies the news indicator and all sorts of stuff. So I thought it's a nice thing to do like that. So I put a little advert on my thing for him. And the same with Dan as well. I put it on there. Well, you know, I put it on there because to help Dan, he's helped me. And then I just got a message out the blue. You don't have to pay the $25 a month. So, you know, happy days. I never asked him for anything. I don't get money affiliates, but he's a trader buddy of mine. He's helped me many times with help and advice. In fact, he actually, I was in a live trade once. I went long and he sent me a private message saying, we've already had a break in a new channel. I got out of the trade for break even. It would have gone on to lose $300. So he's actually physically saved me money. So anybody that helps me, I'll put a little advert on, and if it, you know, it's all about helping each other. I put a little advert, the one you can see now, Ekedal. A lovely bloke, and a talented trader, a talented trader and a talented programmer as well. TraderSync, I put that on there. They allow me to use their TraderSync platform, TraderSync Journal. I don't use it much at the moment. I use Jan's. It's a bit more technical than I need, to be honest with you, but, you know, if people help me out, I think, you know, help them back. I do a little bit of leathercraft as well in my spare time to chill me out. So I've sent a bunch of wallets out to people, you know, free of charge, paid them because they've helped me. So it's about helping each other, isn't it? And giving each other a bit of support and a bit of company, and just, you know, making the day a little bit less boring and you know. And I've said to you guys many times, I'm a bit of a trading fanatic. So anytime you want to chat, just private message me and I'll get straight back to you if I'm, you know, near my phone. Because you get some bad days, really. I've had shocking days where I've lost a bunch of accounts, and, you know, Sam will drop me a message, or, you know, some of you guys will drop me a message. Fortunately, I have less messages because I have less bad days now, or less blown accounts, shall we say. Any ideas? I don't know what's going on here at the moment. It's a little bit choppy. Leg up. Is that a channel? I'm not convinced it is. But trading can be really boring. So I think it's good to chat with people, whether you do it, you know, in a stream or whether you do it on a forum. And especially if you're new as well and you're learning, you need a bit of support around you. But yeah, Patrick Whelan, $20,000 a day. Like, that's just unbelievable. That's nearly £500,000 a year. I can't fathom that. But I mean, if he was showing his trades and people were copying his trades and making money, I kind of get it. But I don't think he actually shows his trades. But he is kind of an entertainer type thing, isn't he? But I do like Nutty. He's a nice guy. He's very comical. I sometimes, if I finished early and I go downstairs, have a cup of tea, sometimes I'll watch his streams. He's quite comical. And just another nice person. I'm not a massive fan of Alpine. I've found he can be quite arrogant with people sometimes. But Nutty's just quite a nice, humble guy. If you looked at the 10,000 tick chart, we chop in the middle of the range. I've got it up here, I think. No, I had the 3,000. Let's have a look. Here we are, aren't we? So we've had a push up and a couple of pullbacks. This kind of has the feel like it's going to push up because we've tested this EMA. If you think this is a range, see, which it certainly looks like it is, we've had a breakout at the bottom which failed. Now, whenever we have that, we quite often have one the opposite side. So my gut feeling is this is going to push up. We've had a strong bullish bar there which never triggered. It came down, but it's holding. So my guess is it's going to pick off these areas of liquidity. Break, leg up, couple of legs back. So that's where I'll be targeting there, that top line. There'll be liquidity there and there as well. So that's what I would suggest this price is going to move to, which gives us a leg and a leg. But that's just my thoughts. Don't go jumping in long there, will you? Something I would have done a few years ago. YouTube pay very well if you have subscribers. And in fact, I've just had a payment from YouTube for the last 3 months. I'll show you. Comes from Google something or other. Not as much as you think. Not that one. Yeah, you need a hell of a lot of subscribers. There we go. Google Island. I better not show you actually. My account's there. £57.79. It's about $75. That's for the last 3 months. So, you know, I tend to average around about 400 to 500 views a day, something like 8 to 10,000 views a month. And that makes me about £20 a month. So you've got to have thousands of subscribers and you've got to make loads of videos. I don't make videos. They don't interest me. It's rare I make a video. I'm not really a YouTuber as such. But yeah, I mean, now we're pushing up here. Let's get that back. It is kind of looking like it. Price is holding. We've got a leg up. We had one leg up there, didn't we? A bit higher, but then we came back and we are sort of stacking a bit. So it is holding price at the moment. But if you look at these ranges, whenever we have a breakout, 9 times out of 10 we'll have the opposite there. Now, whether it continues on, I don't know. But if you can get into a setup here, often it'll break off the same. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But my gut feeling is it's going to get above. Now on the 10,000 chart, it's showing here. My first kind of interest will be here. And if you look at it, it's like a leg up sideways and a leg up, which is the same on the 10,000 tick chart, just a little bit more condensed. Leg up, sideways, leg up. So just a leg and a leg, really. So that's where I expect this price to go. Now, whether it will is a different matter. but there's no real way in there, unfortunately. You can't take a trade there. It's from nowhere, is it? So you've always got to be careful about taking a short up here, especially if, you know, a lot of the time when you break out there, I've done it before, took shorts here, it's triggered me, gone up here, made exactly the same break and then come in. So if it ever does break out there and you're not aware of that, or just never get into a short here, give it a chance to break out first the same, and then it may come back in. Timing matters, absolutely. I mean, there's just no way in there, even if you wanted to do it. We had a channel down there with a break, 2 attempts to push higher or 2 pushes down to a new low. But it's just chopping a little bit unclear, so there's no way in there, unfortunately. And funny, Thomas Way's just put this on 1 minute ago. So he's looking at the same. In fact, he's got that as a little break. I don't think it matters too much anyway. This is the break down the bottom there. That's the important part. So we have a small range inside a main one. So that's why be careful with some trades. Shows you keep blowing accounts on YouTube and make a lot of money. That's not trading scam, absolutely. Yeah, they do, absolutely. They do like watching a show with blood. I know What's-It tends to have those days, doesn't he? Alpine has kind of blood and guts days, doesn't he, sometimes? In fact, he went away recently for a weekend away and blew 10 accounts at about $17,000. I think the trouble with a lot of his trades is he won't use a stop and he'll let it pull back till it either blows the account or pushes up. So I think he's gone through a tough phase. He made a ton of money last year because they allowed him to trade without a stop and put the whole account on the line. They've changed it. They won't allow it now, see? So his kind of trading system that he kind of put it on the line worked for him. And he made a ton of money. But I know recently he's struggling a little bit. But yeah, some were saying Nut is just kind of a pullback trader. I mean, it's a strategy. A lot of the times we get pullbacks, but we don't get no entry and the market ends up shooting off. So it's not the worst strategy in the world. A lot of traders, you know, trade that. We push up, we pull back. Once we start to move, they jump in and try to follow it up. So channel break new high. Yeah, there's so many ways to trade, isn't there? 1,001 ways to trade the markets, isn't there? Yeah, someone on Thomas Wade has said triple test at the top of this range. I'll be careful troubling a triple test there because we've had a push up, 2 attempts to go lower. My gut is this is going to push up here. So taking a short here is risky, I think. Listen to nothing is boring. Listening to a podcast is distracting. Oh, dare I read it? Listening to Lance is... I'm assuming that's great, is it? Yeah, I think that'll do. I'll take that, mate. I was thinking, oh, good, what's coming? I appreciate that, mate. I was preparing myself there. I thought you were going to say suicidal or something like that. So I'll be cautious about taking a short here. because there is a big bearish bar there. What am I saying that for? My gut feeling is it's going to break above that bearish bar, which is here. So leg up, 2 legs back. I'm thinking up here. Range, breakout which failed at the bottom. I expect the opposite one. So leg up, 2 legs back, leg up. So I think this is going to go up to, I don't know, late 20s, which is around about here. So I would avoid a short here because we've pushed in and made 2 clear attempts to push lower. So I would just be careful there. It's market related, so it's not a distraction. Yeah, actually, I don't mind a little bit of music sometimes in the background, but I have my own voice to sort of listen to. You may argue if that's beneficial or not, but it's kind of how I think. I think out aloud like that. Actually, it actually helps me talking about what I'm seeing. I tend to hear it a little bit clearer. So I think this is going to push up above all this, and quite likely this as well, and quite likely up here. So that's where I think prices are likely to get to. Excuse me. Kirk, how you doing, buddy? Spaniards scalping stocks, a January series. You're Spanish, aren't you? Spanish, my favourite dish, paella. Yes, I took out. Yesterday, I took out of state a friend to the National Dressage Championship. Dressage, I'm assuming horses, isn't that? Yeah. In St. Louis, teenage daughter won a ribbon. Oh, fantastic. Hard hunt jumper. Oh, yeah, okay, I got you. Amazing horses. Yeah. I used to work in a stud farm, actually, when I was a young guy. We used to take the horses out and exercise them as well as all the mucky stuff. So bad, I'm about to close. Have an enjoy day. You might as well, mate. Sometimes it's just boring, especially on a Friday. The trouble is, when it is like this, sometimes your patience gets the better and you end up taking a daft trade and all this sort of thing. It comes from Old English. Yeah, I think it's banned in the country at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes, especially on a Friday, you might as well go and have a drink, mate. I'll give you permission. Go and have a sniff of mine. Yeah, when it's doing nothing, I think it's important sometimes if the markets is boring, you can't see any trades coming, rather than sit here and maybe try and force one. Go and enjoy your day. That's one of the benefits of being a trader. You get to pick what you want to do. If it's a crap day, go and enjoy it. You know, Mac often says, you know, don't feel bad about finishing early or take your trade and disappear. Or if it's just going nowhere. Yeah, you might as well go. Where are you from, bud? Anyway, remind me, are you UK or not? I can't remember whether you told me that before. Yeah, you got to enjoy your life, haven't you? Yeah. Okay, so Thomas Wade is saying, let's have a slight break, a new high, but break was not, because in US and America. No, Little Hammer. I know where Kirk is, yeah. Little Hammer. Not sure where he is. We might have spoke about it. Is it UK? I can't remember. Yeah, so Thomas Wade might be looking for a second entry short or a lower high. Rent bar in a while. You've got one now. Now, channel break, new high. Now, you may be inclined to short here, and it may work. Who knows? My concern is we've had one clear attempt to push lower and a second one, so I'm cautious here. And that 10,000 tick chart is telling me the same thing, because there's a big bearish bar there. So we've got to push up to attempt. So my gut feeling is this is probably going to push higher. So now don't listen to me. If you think that's a short, take it. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Ozarks. Ah, okay. There's a program called, was it Ozarks or Ozarks? I used to watch that. Now that kind of looks like a nice short to take, doesn't it, in a sense? But I'm just concerned about that. It hasn't triggered anyway, fortunately. I don't think. No, it hasn't. Ozarks. Yeah, there was that program on that series, wasn't there, about Ozarks? Jason Bateman. So, big orders up here at 27, which is up here above all this. It has triggered now. So I definitely wouldn't be taking that, purely because we've pushed in. We made 2 attempts to go lower, so my gut feeling is that's going to push up. But I get why it might interest some people. Is Thomas Wade taking that? Okay, Thomas Wade is doing the sensible thing and waiting for the higher low. I'm glad, actually, because that to me is getting stopped out all day long. So 10,000 tick chart's quite clear. Push up, 2 attempts to go lower, leg and a leg. That takes us up here. So it's gone up and stopped it out. So if you took that, and I get why you'd take it, you know, you could argue we're in a range, 1, 2, 3, triple test. Why wouldn't you? But because we've had this push in, 2 attempts to push lower, I expect another push up. Yes, bud. Yeah, you. I can't remember where you said you were from. I can't remember you from the UK or not, or US, I can't remember. Oh, Italy, course. Course, yeah. I'm married. I gotcha. Course, yeah, I mean, obviously in the press at the moment with the sad passing of the Pope. Mind you, 80 was 88? 80, something like that? That's not a bad age, is it? If you offered me 88, I'd snap your hand off. The nasties that can get you. It's probably my favourite type of food, actually, Italian. I'm a massive pasta fan. Pasta and paella, my paella Spanish like, but so there is a higher low there. So yeah, you're gonna have a new pope in a couple of weeks, aren't you? Been living in Sydney. Gotcha. Are you a cricket fan, or is that not rubbed off on you yet? I'm going to say Australians are mad cricket fans. Well, Australian rules and cricket. In fact, that's one of my bucket lists, to go to Australia to watch the Ashes series, which is this year, actually. I think it starts in November, December time. Yeah, it is a little bit, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, there was a bullish bar. There was that short there. It's trappy as hell, isn't it? With short there, which triggered, stopped out. Long there, which is triggered, come down, but it hasn't broken below there. So, although it's congested, I want to take a trade. My gut feeling it's probably going to start to move up now. Big bugs and spiders, yeah. That's the only downside. I'm not really a spider fan, actually. Not many things scare me, but I am not. I'm not the best spider thing in the world. Snakes, I'm fine with snakes. I've handled snakes. I don't mind those. Only, the non-dangerous bitey types. I'll just get a bit. Yeah, if you want to live in Australia, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're very strict on that, aren't they? Mind you, years ago, I had a friend of my mother's. I think in the 1970s, you had to pay £5 and promise to stay in Australia for 2 years. You could just. They were advertising to get people. 11 years, only had one encounter with a big spider. Yeah, I know. There was an Australian guy who used to work at a sports shop near where I live. And he said he lived there. He grew up there for about 18 years and never really saw spiders in, where they live. Yeah, the phobia all died. We've all got that one. Mind you, the sharks. Sharks is another one, isn't it? But I actually learned to dive about 10 years ago, so a lot of the stuff around sharks is a bit of a myth. And I know a lot of divers. I used to be in a local club where I live, and they used to go out to the Red Sea. It's a kind of a big dive mecca out, and they used to go out there looking for sharks. So I think a lot of stuff about sharks is myth to a degree. I'm not saying, they don't bite like, but I don't think they're the brutal killers that everyone kind of thinks about. Australia. Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah, Australia. Yeah. Oh, if you like nature and the wild and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, it's on my list to go to Australia for sure. I know my niece spent about 2 years out there. In fact, a little bit longer, actually. It went into COVID, so she stayed out there a little bit longer. They trust us and we trust them, absolutely, yeah. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Yeah, I like it. I love animals. We've always had dogs. We've got 2 cockapoos. Yeah, I love animals. There's nothing worse than animal cruelty. Stuff like that. No, shocking. Oh, absolutely. UK is a nation of animal lovers. Yeah, absolutely. Just wild. Yeah, animals should be in the wild, really. Obviously, you've got your domesticated ones like that. I went out to Kenya about 17, 18 years ago. Got married actually out there, and we went on safari as well. There's nothing like seeing animals in the wild. It's an incredible place. In fact, I know South Africa is slightly different. They're big on hunting there. I don't think hunting rare and beautiful. I get it in the US. Shooting deers and stuff where you got millions of the things out there and stuff. I get that. I don't hunt myself, but I don't condone it. But there is a shortage, and it's getting less and less, isn't it? We're talking about African animals. People shooting lions and stuff like that, and elephants. I don't agree with that. If you want to go out and hunt deers and stuff, I get it. When there's millions of them in Australia, you will never see. No, they had that big Sandy Hook thing years ago, didn't they? And they just stopped it all. Same as UK. I mean, I did a little bit of time in the reserves, so, I have seen weapons, but you'll never see a weapon in the UK, really. The odd shotgun. I used to shoot clay pigeons on occasion. I knew a retired colonel who used to do a shoot once. He used to go out there and shoot 50 cartridges until your arm was dropping off, and then go out and have a few beers. But no, you won't see a weapon in the UK. You won't see pistols in the UK. Not even police carry them. You have your firearms units, but the local police, you won't see them. It's one of the few places in the world, really, where they're not armed. But yeah, I remember. In fact, one of my favourite comedians from Australia, Jim Jeffries. Yeah, Police UK. No. You have your firearms units which get called to specific crimes where weapons might be used, but your normal police on the streets, no, they have the guns, not the stun guns, what they call them, the tasers. They carry tasers and I think spray and batons, but that's it really. Oh yeah, I know. US is a very different country, isn't it? I get the fascination with guns. I do. Especially for guys, we like heavy metal things that go bang, don't we? It's very different than the US, isn't it? They've got a massive gun culture, but the trouble is, when you've been brought up with it all your life, you kind of don't know any different. I suppose the only I get hunting and all this sort of stuff, but the trouble is, for instance, in the UK, you have a couple of neighbours who have a dispute. There's a few fists thrown, that sort of stuff. Give those two people a gun each, things go very different. So that's the one downside to having a big gun nation. It goes without saying there's going to be a lot of gun crime, and there's going to be absolutely. The trouble is, it's not the guns, it's the people that pull the triggers. But the trouble is, most human beings can't control their emotions. And I know what I'm talking about. It's coming from a trader. So I know what it's like. And the trouble is, if you give people guns and you can't control your emotions, then that's why you have kind of a lot of people get killed, which is sad. And I know, in fact, you've got more chance of getting killed with your own gun than you have somebody shooting you, haven't you? Some weird statistics like that. But if people are brought up with guns, they don't know any different. So it takes, that it shouldn't happen really. Gun crime. It's just the unfortunate. It's the innocent people and the kids that bear the brunt of it. Really, men can't control themselves. They'll argue. They'll pull guns, and it's always the innocent people that bear the brunt of it. It's not fair, is it? It's wrong, really. I think really, whether it'll ever happen, they've got massive gun lobbies there, but I think you need to get rid of automatic weapons. I get rifles for hunting, I get shotguns, maybe revolvers or pistols, something, but it's the automatic weapons, the type of weapons that was, that were used in that shooting they had in Vegas, where someone was shooting automatic weapons from a building. Yeah, you don't need automatic weapons, don't you? And I think, I get the fascination with them. They click, they bang. We like this. We like the sound of them. It's just guys, isn't it? But it's the automatic weapons, the machine guns that can do the damage quick. Hunting, I get. If you're living in parts of the US where you've got bears and stuff like that, yeah, absolutely, you need certain things for protection. Hunting sport, absolutely. No issues with that. It's the automatic weapons, really, that in the hands of people who are emotional people, like human beings. You fall out with people, you argue, and then people end up getting killed, and it's sad. I know my wife watches all these crime dramas, and it is sad that so many young people lose their lives to guns. Yeah, it's a shame. But it is happening more in the UK, a lot of illegal. I mean, you can't, I don't think you can own guns. I think you can own a hunting rifle, but there are very strict rules. You've got to have a safe. You've got to be kept obviously you've got to be licensed. You've got to keep the ammunition separate. For But the rifle, you can't have things loaded. Yeah, you can have shotguns, stuff like that, but you know, things like revolvers, pistols, any type of automatic weapons, you just can't get. But it's, I think the biggest thing in the UK that's getting worse is the knife crime. How can you get away with knives? All you got to do is open your kitchen drawer and you've got a bunch of deadly weapons. But it is men mainly, isn't it? You know, they can't control their emotions. They get into arguments and... but the trouble is, a lot of them, they've just grown up. You don't know any different. But I don't know, will you ever stop being able to cut back weapons in the US? Massive gun lobbies there. Who knows? I just think they need to stricken up on, and I know it's a touchy subject for people who've been hunting all their lives with their families. Now, I absolutely get the hunting side of it. Not something I've ever really done, but I get it. But I think the automatic weapons, the stuff that can do the damage to large amounts of people very quick, I think those are the things that need to sort of, you know. So if you took that first bearish bar, trigger just stopped you out. Took the second bearish bar, trigger just stopped you out. A few days left my pistol and brought my laptop. Traded out. Won a few, no losses. Practically traded while traveling. Yeah, that's the beauty of trading. You can. I knew a guy who used to go on holiday and he used to stay for an extra week, and he used to go and up to the room and trade for a couple of hours while his wife was sat next to the pool. So you got the ability to do that, haven't you? I need to pick up a laptop at some point and transfer everything on just to see if I can get it to work. I get the fascination with guns, I do. You know, I'm a guy. Nothing nicer than something made of metal that goes bang. So this is starting to play out like I kind of expected. Same again. Now, there's always a possibility we could short here, but will we have a leg up, 2 legs back? Where's this going to go? It's going to break above these areas, liquidity, because we've had a breakout there. I can't tell you how many trades I've been caught short there, and I haven't thought, damn it, we've got this breakout of this other side of the range. So almost always it does the complete opposite there. And sometimes it does it with a bearish bar first before it pushes up, which it did there. But this is a slightly bigger picture. It's quite useful to have this. Sometimes it just breaks down the barriers and just makes things... I mean, here, complete chop, but this is readable, isn't it? We had a push down, 2 attempts to push high, and we broke the lows. But this looks like, to me, it's going to hit, well, certainly above here. Where it goes from there, I don't know. Once it gets above there, we'll naturally pull into this area. So there's bound to be stops there. Channel down, 2 pushes up. You've got to guarantee there's going to be stops there. Liquidity, whatever you want to call it. Guys, I'm switching off. It was a pleasure to talk to you. See you next week. I wish you all an amazing weekend. Yeah, you too, buddy. Have a great weekend. So we've now got a new friend from Italy. That's one place I don't think we've had traders from, I don't think. Okay, so we're a few ticks away from here, so stops going to be there, I think, for sure. So break out of this range there, which failed, and it looks like we're getting the same thing up here. How far it'll go and what it does then, I don't know. So we're a tick or 2 below this, I think. We broke it, yeah. Okay, so we broke this area now. So, breakout there, which failed, and the same here, this side. So it does work, that leg up, 2 legs back. So You know, I could tell we were working up, but there's no real way in. We just start pushing. So it is useful to have these. You can see it now. It's had a bit of a push now. So breakout here. So it's a bit more clear on here. Sometimes it doesn't help much, but other times it's good to have that bigger picture because it does break a lot of this stuff into kind of bite-sized chunks. Makes it kind of easier to digest a little bit. So just checking to see if there's a channel there. There may be. It's possible. Anybody else got? Yeah, no one's got it as yet, so I'm going to leave it be. So yeah, break out the bottom, break out above here. So it kind of did what we expected. It's working quite well today. It did yesterday, leg down, 2 legs up, leg down. A retest, leg up, 2 attempts to push higher, leg back. So leg up, 2 legs back, leg up. So it's trading and moving kind of like we want it to. A little bit clear and obvious. Did going for 3 points help with accepting losses? 3 points. You on about on the micros, but are you? I'm not on micros at the moment. It's only because I'm trading 2 accounts. I got 6 accounts waiting for a payout, which I'm not touching those at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 accounts waiting for payout. Yeah, I'm going for that. Well, I'm going for a couple of more ticks today. Normally I go for that 12, but I'm going for an extra few, mainly because that ATR's up to 4. But I found trading micros, I actually took riskier trades. So, you know, I think sometimes having a little bit of a certain amount of pressure, it makes you trade a little bit better, I think. Mind you, it wasn't long ago, I traded 2 contracts. So, I mean, the risks, let's say the average bar is just over 4 points. So 1 contract, you're looking at around about $200 risk or just over. I can deal with that. It's when it starts to get 300-400 plus. 250 I'm okay with. So this thing's going to push a bit higher. You can see the orders sat up here on Bookmap. So there's orders at 30, which is here, and there's orders at 40, which is up here. Excuse me. And there is some about here, so it may pull back a bit before it pushes up. Now, I know they're passive orders, they can get yanked, but we know price moves towards liquidity. So if it's just sat there, I mean, we've got to kind of pay attention to them. It's just me, but I find there are less trade setups on the MES. Yeah, there is, yeah. Not as clear, I don't think, either. Yeah, they're not as clear. I mean, if the ATR's 8, 9, 10, you've got no real choice, have you? Or either not trade, but the ATR's, it's slightly higher than it normally is, but I can deal with that. The average loss is just over $200 trading a contract. I can deal with that. So yeah, our 12 ticks. Let's say that bar's 12 ticks. You're risking 3.5 points. It's $135 on a contract. So that's not too bad. It's just when it gets up 6, 8, it's just ridiculous. You have to do something. So there's orders sat at 30. So I expect that to hit the 30. But there is some sat at 20. So it may have a pullback and retest this line. So it's done what we expected. Move up, 2 attempts to push high and a leg up again. So leg and a leg. That's what we discussed there, wasn't it? Clearly ranging, nice and clearly. Breakout here, which failed. Expect the same there. Leg out, 2 attempts to push high and up. So it's really working nice and cleanly today, isn't it? Leg down, 2 attempts up, new low. Leg, 2 attempts to pull back and push up. Once we got above here, where it goes after that, who knows? But so let's see if it does hit this 30 or whether it pulls back, because there is orders sat here at 20 and a little bit below here as well. 20 and kind of 18-ish, which is the top of support. So it may have a quick pullback here. I'm just browsing at bookmap above me here just to see where they are. You can see those orders up here at 30. There was also some at 20. There's just dropped. So I expect it to get to here, but it may, once we're so far up, you know, buyers may start yanking their trades, and it may come back. And it looks like there's buyers sat down there waiting to maybe push it a bit higher on a pullback. So I'm just browsing here at bookmap. You can see these orders up here and also down here, so it's kind of pushing between these areas. But there's a few buyers there, so it may just have a small pullback and get in at kind of 25. Or if enough people yank orders, it may drop back here, and that may encourage. There's orders waiting to be filled here, but some of them are being yanked or taken a bit lower. So I'd love to know how to read all this order flow. The few people I've spoken to who can read it say it's invaluable, but it's one of those things that's difficult until it becomes easier, and then it's very easy to. It's knowing what's going on really. Pretty sure you got your ask on the left and your bid, but I'm not quite sure how to read them really. It happens quite quick, so I will spend the time one day to try and figure out what's going on. But I think it's more beneficial for holding trades, I think. I don't quite know. It does look complicated. It's not as actually difficult as it looks. It does look like a complete mess, doesn't it? But the simple answer is these dark red areas, the darker the red, the more orders that are sat there. The black areas, there's hardly any orders, and price moves towards liquidity, and that's what these are. So these are the areas where the bigger orders are, and all these little balls here are just aggressive buyers and sellers. So if I click the buy order, that would represent in a green ball, and the bigger the ball, the bigger the buyers, and the opposite for sellers. So it kind of looks more complicated than it is, but you can see there's combined between those two areas, there's about 500 orders there. Now they're passive orders. That's like me putting an order in waiting to be filled, so it could get yanked. So, you know, if I put a buy order down here, I could cancel that buy order. So, you know, these aren't filled, they're areas sat down there, but price generally moves towards these areas. But then obviously you've got to take into consideration the aggressive buyers. You know, although you may have a lot of buyers here and price may pull towards it, if here you get a lot of aggressive buyers buying massive orders, it may not, it may still push up. So it's not, you know, but you can see the orders at 30 where price seems to be working to. You know, some traders might be going, I'm not buying up here, which makes sense. I want to buy down here. So if price does come back to this area before it hits there, it may push up a little bit more. But I still have only really scratched the surface of it. I don't know a huge amount about it, but But you can see price trying to move towards that 30. We're literally a few ticks away. Yeah, so these are passive buy orders, which are lower than price, and these are passive sell orders. When I say passive, I mean just orders sat there waiting to be filled above price. This is price at the moment. Now, obviously, the more orders up here, price tends to drift towards them, because if you're sat here going, I got money here, you know, a seller will come towards you. So that's how those two work. But what this doesn't show you and what this shows you is people who click the buy button or the sell button. That represents these big balls. So even though price may be coming down towards this because there's bigger orders down here, if some massive institution wants to buy here, it'll push it up. So you've got two types of orders here. You've got the passive orders, or maybe limit orders sat there waiting to be picked up, which price drifts towards. And you've got the aggressive, which may be, you know, people going, I'm buying now. And that obviously drives prices as well. If we didn't have that, it'd be easy. You just find where the biggest passive orders are and, you know, trade towards them. But you've obviously got that little bit of battle going on between passive orders and aggressive orders. But we've hit that 30 level now. So see, a lot of those orders have disappeared now, see? So we've hit the 30. So now all of a sudden, once we get above these areas, people will take profit. So it may pull back, or people may add towards them. You know, if you took a short here and your stop was up here, if price comes up and it's your stop, that also gives it a little bit of momentum. Do you know what I mean? So I use it for a guide sometimes, but look at that measured move now on that 10,000 tick chart. Look at that perfect measured move. We discussed this, what prices look like they were doing. They don't always work that way, but when they do, you know, it's much nicer to kind of helps you, you know, get a sense of direction to it. Obviously, we need a direction to trade, long or short. So if you can see these big passive orders up here, taking a long here, you know, that looked okay, it would help your kind of decision making. So it's not, you know, it's not a magic bullet by any means, but it gives you a guidance where there are bigger passive orders, because price, as we know, moves towards liquidity. If there is big orders up here, chances are price is more than likely going to find its way up there. And the good thing, you can pay to have Bookmap, but this is just free on YouTube. It's live. I believe it's a few seconds behind, a couple of seconds, but that doesn't really make a difference. But it's useful to have a look at it just to see, you know, where there might be big orders or where price is looking like it's going to. So, you know, I was looking for something to go long there, but if you could have gotten a something, look what happened. Nice and strong where we assumed price was going. Okay, so we've pushed up to this measured move now. So where are we going now? So if you target in this area for profits, is this going to continue up? I'd quite expect some kind of a pullback here, but there's no guarantees, especially as we've had two legs. Looks like a spike in a channel there. Touch, 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 touch. Oh, we've been going for 3 hours and 10 minutes. I think I'm going to knock it on the head now, I think, guys. I've took a trade anyway on one account. I thought the other one. But I am waiting for... The other one hasn't triggered, but I'm waiting for 6 payments from Apex of around about $3,500, I think, give or take $100. So not a fantastic month, but it's... I've made a bit anyway. It's certainly covered my expenses, and maybe I'll probably be a couple of $1,000 up. Well, it's a wage anyway, so it's not always going to be great. It's been a tricky month. In fact, I think it's been a bloody awful month, so I'm kind of pleased to get anything. But there you go. So look, guys, have a great weekend. If you carry on trading, best of luck. Doesn't look like a terrible day today. Market is moving quite systematically, which is interesting. It's a bit choppy, but it is moving quite clearly. So have a great weekend. Stay safe. And I'll be back on Monday. It's amazing how these months are flying by since Christmas. I mean, we'll be in May in less than a week. Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, you too, Karina. So anytime you guys want to chat, message me and I'll talk trading morning, noon and night, whatever you want, you know, for any reason. You take it easy, Nick. So, yeah, anytime you want to drop me a message for any reason, you know, feel free. So I'll leave you guys to it. Best of luck. Have a great weekend and we'll catch up on Monday. Bye for now.